Hello folks, hope you're all having a wonderful week. We are on Tuesday, we're making our way through the week, and it is time for a diatribe and a controversial video, just like we did this time last week. Thank you very much for leaving some good comments on the last video and making me want to do another one, as there were several big factions that I missed out. If your faction is not in this video, rest assured there will be a third one, and that they will be in that one. This is what does your 40k army say about you, and once again, I am a moron, I am an idiot, so some of my opinions will not be right in your brain, and also I come up with these on the fly just to see, you know, where my brain goes when I think of the fans who do these certain chapters. As all of you know, I used to run a Games Workshop and I've also run a hobby store. I've come across thousands and thousands and thousands of hobbyists in my time, coming into stores, buying things at tournaments, at game nights, all sorts of things, right? Spoken to a lot of people in this hobby, and a lot of people who collect the armies that I'm about to talk about here. So, rest assured, a lot of these are based on an aggregate of the people I've met in the hobby. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below. Please hit that. It would be an amazing thing for me to hit 15,000 subscribers towards the end of the year. You're all doing me a huge solid by doing that, and it costs you nothing. If you think somebody else would get a kick out of these videos, or my work of mental health and things like that will help them, then please, show them the channel. Let's help them out, shall we? Always come back for your hobby bros. That's what I say. Anyway, Black Templars. Starting off with a small one. Black Templars. Number one. The number one thing I think Black Templars are, or at least the fans of Black Templars, if you do the army, you have no compromises and no chill. And you like what you like. I've never known a Black Templars fan to have any chill whatsoever when it comes to something they like. Number two, you started the hobby in 3rd edition and have a serious love for the John Blanche style of grimdark Warhammer 40,000. The 90s ruled, and anybody who thinks otherwise can suck your fat pious appendage. Number 3. You aren't scared away by the Iron Cross and the light in the darker side of the Noble Knight. Now, what I mean by that is, other people have very vile things to say about Black Templar fans. I don't, because I think Black Templars are based as anything, and they're probably one of the most amazing looking armies in the hobby. If you're a Black Templars fan, congratulations to you. You are the second man of culture in this hobby behind the wonderful Grey Knight fans. And Yorkshire tea drinkers. Number 4. You have shared at least 5 Deus Vult Infidel memes in your time, you filthy casual. You know who you are. You know who you are. Second army. Lamenters. The Blood Angels successor chapter of the Lamenters. The guys who always have the worst luck, it seems. Number 1. If you're a Lamenters fan, you stuck up for the bullied kid in school. You may have been popular and had good-looking friends, but you didn't like punching down. Number 2. You find the packet of Walker's pickled onion crisps alluring, and you don't know why. Number 3. You wanted to collect Blood Angels, but you're not a huge fan of red, or eating people, or being a bloody degenerate. Moving on. Raptors. Raven Guard successor chapter, who are very, very, very good at being special forces. Raptors. Number 1. You play a lot of Call of Duty. Number 2. You think the melee combat and glory-focused part of the 40k settings combat is kind of silly. And number 3. You were, or knew somebody, who was in the armed forces for real. And I swear to you, the amount of people who used to be in the armed forces who really gravitated towards Raptors because they're Space Marines who act like modern-day special forces is unreal. Absolutely unreal. Alright, next. Word Bearers. Oh god, here we go. Here we go. Word Bearers. You know, number 1, you know you are always right. You just do. And even if you're not right at the moment, you will be right in the end. Or so you think. Don't ask me why I thought that. I've known a few Word Bearers players over the years, and they've all been very, very, very similar when it comes to this outlook. And please don't get offended if I spend more time on some factions than yours, okay? It just means that there's more lore to go over for the word bearers than there is for things like the Raptors, unfortunately, even though I really like the Raptors. The word bearers, though, the word bearers players I've known, I think the most important thing about them is the third thing. So the second thing is, you are a big fan of warrior monks. You probably play Uesagi in Shogun 2 Total War, right? And number 3, you are a bookish Horus Heresy player. Ironically, you aren't very religious. Now, hear me out, word bearers fans. You aren't very religious, but find people who are to be very intimidating and dangerous. The most open-eyed people I've known in the hobby who've been writers and things like that have been word bearers fans. Because they're really into exploring things that they aren't comfortable with. And in being a word bearers fan, they've taken something that they find utterly terrifying, and that's religious dogma dictating what people want to do in a crowd, and they've made it their thing. It's kind of like Batman armouring himself as a bat because he's afraid of bats, right? Very, very, very similar for the word bearers in this as well. Okay? Alright. Salamanders. Nope, not touching it. Black Legion. Well, number 1, Black Legion, you are an old school wargamer who remembers the Realm of Chaos book. I know a ton of old dudes who love themselves some Black Legion. An absolute ton. I have no idea what it is. I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people who are older tend to do things like either it's one of 3 armies, right? If you're over, like, 40, it's one of 3 armies normally is their main, right? Number 1, a Terminator-heavy Blood Angels list. Because of Space Hulk, right? Number 2 is a Black Templars list. Because of 3rd edition Black Templars. And how cool they were when they came out all that time ago. And 3rd edition was the first real mainstream edition of Warhammer 40k. Every edition before that has been really cool and really popular, but not, like, hugely board gamey popular. It's more than wargaming popular. 3rd edition was the first, board game popular edition of 40k, right? So a lot of people entered in on that part of the hobby at that stage. And the last one, and last but not least, what was it? Oh, Chaos, of course. Black Legion, Chaos Space Marines, right? Those are the 3 that tend to come up a lot with the older people, and I have no idea why. I think it's because a lot of them came in at that time, and Chaos was the big bad, and it should always be the big bad, but, you know, now we have Tyranids and new guys on the block, but you're an old school gamer, number 1, who remembers the Realm of Chaos book, alright? Number 2, you hate painting brass metal detail on models and secretly have considered getting the new Primaris kits and making them traitors with conversions. Number 3, unlike the Ultramarines, you actually don't really like your leader in Abaddon the Despoiler. You think Abaddon should have more compelling sub-commanders like Dante for you to get your teeth into? Abaddon is cool, but he did fail a lot. Time for retirement, old man, right? A lot of the Black Templars dudes, even the older dudes that I know, can't look at Abaddon and roll their eyes. I go, this guy again, you know? And I know there's that World Claimer guy, you know, who follows him around, but one thing that we really are missing in Black Legion, and a lot of fans who talk to me about Black Legion say we don't have any sub-commanders. We're supposed to be this, you know, Space Marine Legion level threat, but we don't have any interesting people apart from Abaddon in our thing. They thought that the Black Legion books by Aaron Dembski Bowden would be a big opportunity to bring in more Black Legion heroes. And it wasn't really, you know? The ones that we met died, or were imprisoned, or on the tabletop. Fix it, Games Workshop, please. Going back to Salamanders, I'm kidding. I was kidding earlier. I was kidding, of course. Don't look at me like that. Go away. Go away, you beautiful man. Goodbye. Okay, cool. Back to Salamanders. Alright. Number 1. You are very upset that Vulcan had little to do in the Horus Heresy, but you like dragons and fire. The colour green is not as offensive on the eyes to you as yellow, red or blue. That may seem very simplistic, but it is a thing. The way that Games Workshop paint dark green salamanders is badass. And it's something that has really almost got me into salamanders on more than one occasion. Alright, when I was younger, salamanders were my go-to. If I was going to get back into the hobby in a big way, salamanders were going to be it. They were going to be the thing. Later on, decided to go with Grey Knight because, you know, I'm a man of culture. Number 2. You wish your army would be called the Space Dragons or something similar, as although Space Dragon sounds really silly, a salamander is a small and not very threatening lizard here on Earth. If your army was from the United Kingdom, you'd be called the Badgers. Don't come at me. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. Every Salamanders fan, look deep into your heart. Do you like the name that your army has? No one else does. Sounds silly. You know? Moving on. Carcharodons. Here's one I think might be getting a bit of people rubbed up the wrong way. We'll see. Number 1. You like to laugh at the poetry of Raven Guard players. Number 2. You wanted to do World Eaters, but you're not a filthy heretic traitor, or a slave to your bloodlust. And number 3. You're a white guy who likes to have Polynesian tattoos on him, which could get your ass kicked if you ever go to any one of those communities. But you think they're badass, and sharks low-key terrify you. You secretly think Chaos gets a lot of things right. They just get the key things wrong. That is a sentiment that comes up a lot with Carcharodon players. Chaos gets a lot of stuff right. It's just the key facts that they don't get right, that they get completely wrong. And that's why I'll never be with them. So that's why you go with Carcharodons. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. You know? Moving on. Iron Warriors. Again, my favourite legion. My favourite legion. Iron Warriors are awesome. They're the best. Anyway, moving on. 1. Iron Warriors. If you're an Iron Warriors fan, number 1. You can't afford a Death Corps of Krieg army. So you bought Iron Warriors instead. Number 2. You are one of those salty nerds. You're cheap. You never buy around. You're no nonsense. You like things that go boom. Simple as. You fucking hate painting hazard stripes. Everybody's known a nerd like this. I've known several, right? It's not that they're cheap and they're not good friends. It's not that at all, right? They just don't have any social cues to really go and get around in. They need to be told to go and get around in. They need to be told to, like, you know, chip in for a birthday gift or shit like that. They don't really have the social cues where they can go up ahead and, you know, make that jump to give somebody something that they need or that they want or a common courtesy, a nicety, right? A lot of people who, let's say, not autistic, but a lot of people who don't get social cues fall into Iron Warriors. They do. I fell into Iron Warriors for a different reason, probably the last reason on this. So, not everybody in this video will hit all 3 or 4 points. Sometimes you'll hit 1 or 2. I definitely hit 1 or 2 of Iron Warriors. 1, I couldn't afford a Death Corps of Krieg army, and 3, with number 3, you don't mind a bit of dirt and grime. You identify with Perturabo in being the most overlooked Primarch, but you do your job anyway better than anyone else can, and there is a low-key arrogance in that. This is something that comes up with Iron Warriors players all the time. Very, very, very low-key arrogance in, I know what I'm good at, and I know I'm better than you, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to make you tell me, you know, that kind of thing. Is that kind of a look in there? And again, I'm not having a go. I love Iron Warriors, right? This is definitely me. Like me having a go at Grey Knights last time. I'm a Grey Knight player. I love Grey Knights, right? But a lot of Iron Warriors fans have either had difficulties blending in with the social circle, or they're really creative and they always get overlooked, right? I know. Moving on. Blood Ravens. Oh, jeez. Blood Ravens. Deary, deary me. Alright, well, 3 points on Blood Ravens. Number 1, you played Dawn of War and thought Blood Angels and Blood Ravens were the same thing. Don't lie. Don't lie. Number 2, you only found out about the Blood Ravens penchant for stealing things much later. You just wanted to collect the dudes from Dawn of War and put them on the tabletop, and there's nothing wrong with that. But admit, you didn't know anything about them stealing things. Number 3, you subscribe to the Blood Ravens being Thousand Sun successors. Not because you think it's true, but because you are desperate for your faction to have anything but, and I quote, they are the dudes from Dawn of War who think they are Blood Angels, unquote, attached to them. You're desperate for anything else. There's one thing that I really don't like in Warhammer 40,000 literature, and it's the constant retconning of things to make them fit a little bit better into the setting, or to make them a little less embarrassing to go over when they've got obvious flaws, and the Blood Ravens were one of them. The Blood Ravens were a studio-created chapter, a game studio-created chapter, who didn't know a lot about 40k, so they created something called Blood Ravens and threw them into the fire, right? Without even realising Blood Angels were a thing. Later on, we start getting to the point where we're like, we shouldn't have done that. So Games Workshop come along and they start injecting pieces of lore in there, like they like to steal relics and things like that, or like they might be Thousand Sun successors. Don't cause me to laugh, all right? You injected all that because you're desperate for them to not just be discount Blood Angels. That's what that's there for. I'm saying it. I'm sorry. That's what that lore is there for that reason. It's not there because it's cool, because it is cool. It's there so people stop calling them discount Blood Angels. That's it. That's it. I'm sorry, Blood Ravens fans. That's all it's there for, right? I fully respect your right to love your army. No problem. But for me, it will always be the Dawn of War army, and they're just not as cool looking Blood Angels, you know, that's just what they are. I'm really sorry, but, you know, moving on. Good God, Blood Ravens took a pounding there. Jesus, sorry, guys. I don't know what's coming out of this mouth. These videos are ones where I just go, bleh, and I just talk, right? Crimson Fists. Number 1, Crimson Fists. Number 1, you're just a good boy, aren't you? What a special good boy you are. Alright? You need to wipe the mother's milk off your top lip if you're a Crimson Fists player. Number 2, you liked action men a lot when you were a kid, didn't you? And I bet you all had them in the right little regimental lines, all good boys who fight the bad guys, and you come home and have some apple pie when they get back. Number 3, you are secretly jealous of the other, more interesting to everybody else, Imperial Fist successor chapters. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Don't be getting your panties in a twist. Let's be honest now. You are. Alright? Imagine being an Imperial Fists successor chapter. You could be Black Templars. Oh, you could be Soul Drinkers. Oh, jeez. What a lovely, you know? Right? You could be Executioners. Damn. Wouldn't that be cool? Fafnir Ran and all that? Oh, my God. That'd be so cool. That'd be awesome. What are you, though? Crimson Fists. Oh. Well, what do you do, then? What lore do you have? We're nice. We have red hands. And we don't like orcs. Right. You are basically the quintessential Space Marine, then. Yep. And you have no or more depth apart from that. Nope. Alright, cool. Moving on. Tau. The Tau Empire. This one that, I know this is one that people have been waiting for a while. So, this might be a 5 to 6 minute one. I apologise. Yeah. Alright. Alright. I'll get it out the way. Tau Empire. You are that friend. Okay? You know what I mean. You are the friend who likes to play dishonourable win-at-all-costs combinations in any game you play with your friend group because, and I quote, the rules don't say that it's against the rules, unquote, so I'm doing it anyway. You're that guy. You are that dude. You don't always win. Right? You are Spiffing Brit. That's who you are. You are a guy who saps all of the fun out of the multiplayer game, because as long as you're having a good time and you're winning, you're happy. I know, that's controversial, but guys, dozens of Tower players that I faced over the years have been just like this. Just like this. Here is my gun line. Okay, cool. I don't want any terrain. Why do you want any terrain? Oh, because I want to get any cover saves. Okay, yeah, fine. You know, and it's just... yeah. There's a reason for the rep. Your army may not be OP anymore, guys, but that doesn't mean that there's no reason for the rep that you have. There's a reason it's there. Alright? Unfortunately, there is a reason it's there. That's because a lot of your player base play... Not that they're playing for blood, they're playing dishonorably. Right? They're playing literally like, I'm going to do this, and I know it's not fun for you, and I know it doesn't give you any chance of winning, but I'm doing it anyway. For 2 editions now, not 10th, but for 2 editions, Tau were that army. There was no counter. Literally no counter for a while for Tau. And boy did they lean into that shit. Boy did they, right? Alright, number 2. You are a not-so-secret weeaboo. And you have an unhealthy curiosity as to what Tau women look like. If you want to know where all those disgusting memes and hentai pieces come from, have a little look at your local Tau player and tell me that guy doesn't look at hentai. He does. Nightly. He's thinking about it right now, as he's rubbing his knees, waiting for the next roll in his game. Number 3. You don't like to think. I'm serious. You like to sit at the back of a 40k game board and shoot. You like to not think too hard about if your faction is good or bad. You gloss over all of that. You fight for the greater good, quote unquote, whatever, without ever actually knowing what that means. Your win and loss record in 7th and 8th edition, and maybe even 9th, clearly shows how right you are in your opinion. But I'll be here, I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? The Tau Empire, the greater the good, ain't all good. Right? Ain't all good. And a lot of you guys like to gloss over that fact and just go, oh, no, it's fine. It's called the greater good. It's called the greater good. Why would it not be good if it was called the greater good? Well, I'm telling you why. Right? It uses brainwashing tactics. It has a eugenics program second to none. Anybody who joins the Tau Empire is a second-class citizen and probably work to death in some gulag mine somewhere. Listen, I'm not here to tell you that everybody else is good and the Tau Empire are bad. They are not. In fact, in 40k, the Tau Empire are reasonable. Reasonable. But that's it, guys. That's it. They're reasonable. In any other setting, the Tau Empire are the bad guys. And evil ones at that. And not a lot of you get that when you're playing the Tau Empire as a faction 140k. Alright? Those are the ones I have this time around. Are there any armies that I missed? Let me know in the comment section down below. If there are any that I missed, I will do them next week, next Tuesday. I will have them here ready for you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will speak to you then. Have a great time, man. Have a great day. If you're playing any games today, or you're going to your local store, have a good time. Roll some dice for me, have a good one, and I will speak to you tomorrow for some more Hobby Nightmares. We have some absolute humdingers tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Have a good one. See you later. Bye now.